Hello and welcome to this episode of the Print On Demand Playbook Podcast. I'm your host, Kerry Egler, here with my co-host, Adrian Von Arx. And today we're talking about one of the most popular social media channels for print on demand businesses, and it is Instagram. And we're specifically going to be going through how to maximize the free features of Instagram to build community, get followers, and make sales. There's some juicy gold in this episode. We talk about, of course, Reels and how images are making a comeback, lives and stories, and amazing features of Instagram that you can be using right now to get those sales bumping. So before we dive into the episode, I want to ask you, wherever you're watching from or listening from, take a minute and hit that subscribe button for us. It really helps us out as we are building this podcast. So before we get going, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Gelato, the world's largest print-on-demand network. Gelato enables individuals ranging from e-commerce entrepreneurs to artists and creatives to establish their own global business. What makes Gelato truly unique is their focus on local production. The item being delivered is produced in the country that the order is placed almost 90% of the time, leading to numerous benefits for you, including lower costs, faster delivery times, and reduced carbon emissions. The focus on technology to bring together over 130 production facilities across 32 countries truly sets them apart. Not only that, they currently have the highest customer satisfaction score in the POD industry on Trustpilot. To check them out for yourself, go to sixfigurefounder.com/gelato and use the discount code POD Playbook, all caps, to get 60% off your first order when placed within 72 hours. That's the number sixfigurefounder.com/GELATO. You can also find the link and discount code in the podcast show notes or in the video description on YouTube. Kerry, what is going on, my friend?
What's up, man? How are you?
Dude, I'm so excited because we have so many exciting things coming up.
Dude,
we have not told anybody, but we are going to Scandinavia together. We are going to
Scandinavia.
Yeah, we're going to Norway and Sweden. Yeah. Is it Norway and Sweden? Yeah, Norway and Sweden for the Gelato Accelerator Summit at the Swedish Archipelago. I'm super pumped for that. That's going to be so much fun. I think it's like
I am so Oklahoman. I'm sorry. You just said so many words. I'm like, what is he talking about? I guess we're going to another country.
Scandinavia, the Nordics. It's like all encompassing. It's
I don't know
all
anything.
those Northern European countries. But
I have been out of the United States one time. That was to lovely Cancun, Mexico for my honeymoon. And that was it.
I remember you saying that, man. You're going to get cultured. You're going to get cultured, but it's going to be it's going to be like power culture. It's going to be like 3 days and you're just going to see Europe for the first time. Dude, it's amazing over there. I've had the chance to go multiple times. I absolutely love it.
So jealous.
It's going to be so much fun. So we got that coming up. And then in June, we've also got our first ever six-figure founder, grow your brand public launch.
Yes.
This is where we need that. There we go.
So what it is it's called the Grow Your Brand Workshop. It's a 2-day live event, and it is coaching and training, community connection. It is so much fun. So it's a little bit of a backstory. We did our first Grow Your Brand workshop maybe like a month and a half, probably 2 months ago, about 2 months ago when this releases. Probably about 2 months ago, and we only opened it up to our students, like our already existing students. So what we are doing is now we are opening up our next one to all of you out there listening, and all of our followers and email lists and all that kind of stuff. And so we want to personally invite you, if mainly this is going to be for established apparel brand owners, online apparel brand owners. And what we mean by established is that you've launched your store, you're actively, marketing your products. So we're not necessarily looking for, if you're a complete beginner, we're looking for people who have launched their store already. You're ready to grow. It's titled the Grow Your Brand Workshop. Mm-hmm. And so essentially, and I definitely want to hear you talk a little bit more about it, but essentially it is a 2-day live event, and it runs from 11 to 3 p.m. Central Time each day. And it's going to be on Wednesday, June 28th and Thursday, June 29th. And so 11 to 3 p.m. Central. It is comprised of training sessions. We teach on mindset, marketing, creating a movement. And we also have specialized coaching sessions. They're really one-on-one in front of the group, but we do some one-on-one coaching. We do website reviews, right there in front of everybody, which is really cool, really valuable to see us kind of break down different brands. And it's just awesome. Like, it's so good. The feedback was phenomenal from last time. What say you, Adrian?
That was so well said. It was so much fun. And what I loved about the interactive component, like when we were doing the live coaching, everyone was pitching in. It was so cool. The chat was just lighting up. And as we were reviewing websites, people were giving feedback and giving these great ideas for the people who were getting their websites reviewed. So it was just a ton of fun. I felt like there was just so many good vibes. Like, it was like 2 days of good vibes. So we invite anyone who is interested, if that sounds like something you're interested in, we will have a sign up form, and we will have that in the show notes. So you can go there and you can sign up, but hopefully we see you guys there. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's free and it's for everyone. So this is going to be like open up the floodgates for this program that's been exclusive up to this point. So we're really fired up.
Just to be clear, I think you can go to the number 6figurefounder.com, just the number 6figurefounder.com. That should redirect you over to the sign up page for the Grow Your Brand workshop. So if you just go over there, we'll leave it in the show notes, but it's just the number 6. So don't type out SIX, just put the number 6figurefounder.com. If you just put that in, it should redirect you right over there to the Grow Your Brand workshop.
Cool. Well, just before we jump into the content, which is going to be so much fun because I love Instagram, did you want to share a listener review?
Yes. So thank you guys so much for your reviews. We really appreciate it. The podcast, as we've said, has just been so much fun, been so good, so valuable for us, I know, but we've gotten some amazing feedback from you guys. And so before I read it, I want to invite you, if you're listening right now on Apple Podcasts, just leave us a quick review. There's a little button that says write a review. You can just write it real quick, submit it there. Let us know what you think about the podcast. If you're watching or if you're listening on Spotify or any of the other platforms, leave us a quick review. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the podcast. If you like it, if you don't like it, we'd love to hear from you. But I want to share a 5-star review from This Sonderful Life. I'm going to guess that's intentional, but it could be so. This Wonderful Life. But I think that's intentional. And keeping with the awesome names. So This Sonderful Life. Remember, if you're going to leave a review, you got to have an awesome name. So This Sonderful Life says, great episode. About to head to part 2. I appreciated all of the tips. Some of this wasn't new information, but you guys offered so much value. Hearing your point of view, data, tips, and strategies was very welcomed. Eager to hear what else you guys have to put out there. So thank you, This Sonderful Life. And we appreciate you. And again, leave us a review. We'd love to shout it on the air. We'd love to hear from you guys what you think of the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. And with that, why don't we jump into kind of the content component here. And today we are talking about free ways to market your business on Instagram. So what I want to do is I wanted to kind of break this down into a couple parts. First, I want to introduce everyone to all the different features in Instagram because there's actually a lot and some people might not have heard of or they just might not use or know how to use. So we're going to be breaking down all the features on Instagram, explaining what each is. So we'll just give a brief explanation and then we're going to share ways that you can leverage these features for your business. So what are the benefits of these features and how can you use them for your business? Now, I love Instagram. I have built my brand off the back of Instagram. I think a lot of people have. It's probably the #1 primary acquisition channel out there for clothing and apparel brands. This is my primary acquisition channel. This is where we get we introduce people to our brand and convert visitors into customers. And this is my recommended platform of choice since it's really great for showcasing a mix of content that's kind of relevant and valuable to your niche. and product posts, sharing your actual products. It's also great for building a passionate community. And then, of course, converting followers into customers. So I love to use Instagram as a primary acquisition channel. That's where people are introduced to my brand. My goal is to get them to go to my website where I can collect their email, I can remarket to them, and then I can turn them into customers. So there's a little bit more that I want to share about Instagram. This is actually a really interesting stat that I found out recently. A recent study showed that Instagram followers are 10 times more valuable than TikTok followers.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
That is insane.
That might change, like maybe that's going to change. I know the average age of TikTok users continues to increase.
Yeah.
But Instagram has definitely been the most lucrative sales channel for my brand up to this point, and still continues to be our primary source of our sales and a lot of other brands that I know. So with that, why don't we just kind of, oh, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, just let me say a few things about that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I think Instagram is the best social media platform if you are a business that wants to sell products. And I think you touched on a few reasons for that, but talking about the age demographic, if you think about something like Facebook that tends to skew a little bit older, that older demographic, although the stats show they are buying online, they're going to be more skeptical and they're probably buying a little bit less online. There are a lot of things they want to buy in person. Whereas the ideal market that's number one, going to have some money, number two, going to be privy to social media, and number three, going to be very privy to buying on the internet, is going to be the Instagram crowd. It's going to be the 25 to like 44, 25 to 50. That's really the prime demographic. Again, they have a career, they likely have some income, they love social media, they love Instagram, and they're comfortable buying just about anything online because of their age, right? It's going to be the millennials like me and you. Yep. So that's one of the reasons. I also think Instagram has always been a platform that has been designed for it's been business friendly. There's so many tools that as a business you can utilize on there. You can change to a business account, all those kind of things. But then also like the things like tagging products and using Instagram and Facebook shops, it just promotes buying, right? I know we're going to get into some of those things. But I know I've also seen stats out there where, the majority of people, I shouldn't say the majority, I don't remember the exact percentages, but high percentages of people, that's when they're looking at a product, they're considering it, they're now going to Instagram as like a first checkpoint of like, oh, I'm considering buying from this brand. I need to go check out their Instagram, and they can see more lifestyle photos. They can see more reviews. They can see maybe what the brand stands for. And so they're going to Instagram to learn about that brand and to build trust there. And also it's just so convenient that there's a DM button and they can ask questions and connect with the brand and those things. So for all those reasons, I think it's the prime platform for the majority of businesses to sell on.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's just such a visual platform. Instagram, it came out, it was like a photo social media platform, and that is perfect for t-shirt and apparel businesses, So I feel like it was made for businesses, and you're right. They keep rolling out more kind of business friendly features. So it was like it was already set up for it, but it just keeps getting better in terms of features to help businesses. And so what I want us to do is I just want us to break down, we're going to break down 7 different features of Instagram. We're just going to explain what they are briefly, and then we're going to talk about the benefits of each. So why don't we just hop in and start with the first one? And this is the most basic one. I'm sure everyone knows this. This is just content, posting content to your feed, to your grid. So in Instagram, you can post a photo or a video on the platform, and you can post a still image, you can post a carousel post, which includes up to 10 images, or you can post a video between 3 seconds and 60 minutes long. So that is just a standard post. That is like the OG feature of Instagram. And this actually has a number of different benefits. So one, it's great for offering value. So if you have determined who your niche is, which you know us, we're big on that. So if you've determined who your target audience, who you're creating your content for, and how you can add value to them, this is great. You can go on there and you can get very creative in what you post there. It doesn't have to be all product posts. And I actually strongly recommend that it is not all product posts.
Yeah.
Dude, there's been so many times where people are like, hey, can you check out my Instagram page? I'm not getting any sales. And I look and it's literally just a bunch of like mock-ups from a print on demand company of their products. And I'm like, how many brands do you follow that just post mock-ups of their products? And like, maybe you follow like a Louis Vuitton or a Supreme or something like that. But how many e-commerce brands do you follow that just post their products? Not many. And if they do, they usually have a very beautifully curated grid. They have like a professional team working on this stuff. They're doing all sorts of stuff to make it really flashy, really high quality imagery. A lot of times they have professional photographers and stuff. So what I recommend, and I know you recommend this too, Carrie, is that people have a good content mix. Find ways to offer value. Give people a reason to follow you and really dial in on the niche. Like, what is valuable to your niche? And so this is really good for offering value, for building community. So a lot of brands, they'll build community around this niche. Maybe they even do meetups or special events. They can do all sorts of stuff. They can announce events coming up. They can, let's say you're in the hiking niche and you want to share like a national park feature. Every week you feature like an image with a little bit about a national park. That's really cool for people who are national park enthusiasts. So great for building community, curating that community, bringing people together that identify with that niche, showcasing your brand, and then of course featuring products. I do encourage people to include their products in their grid, just not every single post. I would probably, if I were starting out, I would probably do it every third or fourth post to start out. Carrie, your thoughts?
A couple things come to mind. When you talked about just posting all the sale posts and mock-ups and different things, like I always think about the kind of quote, I don't know, remember where it's from, but people love to buy, but they don't like to be sold to. Mm-hmm. And so you really can't build trust with somebody through just trying to sell. Like you have to build trust in other ways by providing value to them and making connection and showing them that you're going to be trustworthy, that you're going to deliver on your promises, that you're going to deliver a high quality product, all the different things. But the way that we build trust on social media is through our content and through providing valuable content related to our niche. And so that came to mind. And then the other thing is just kind of let people know. Now, when we're talking about posting content, we're kind of all encompassing and all the different types of content. But in the future points, Adrian and I are going to break down, reels and stories and different things. Mm-hmm. But just a quick note on, images and, Instagram has come out somewhat recently and said, yes, we are like, the algorithm is promoting video and reels more than it's promoting images. And so, images had been on the decline for a while, getting less and less engagement. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they've more recently come out and said, we've had so many people saying
so much pushback.
Yeah, we don't want just reels. That's what makes Instagram different from TikTok, that now they're starting to actually push slideshows, carousels, and still images back into the feed and the algorithm. So images, carousels, they still have a place in your content mix, and so that they can still have a lot of value.
Yeah. A while back, there was this "Make Instagram again" movement. And like the Kardashians, the Jenners were in on this. Everyone was really upset that they were giving so much weight to reels and just trying to copy TikTok and compete with them, like, create essentially a carbon copy of TikTok. And you're right. The Instagram did come out and say, we're going to start weighting reels a little less heavy, because they were really weighting them heavy in the algorithm, and give a little more weighting to images and carousels. And still, reels are like the biggest way to get exposure, 100%. The easiest way to go viral and stuff like that. However, image and carousels are making a bit of a comeback because the algorithm is kind of putting them a little more level. I still think reels are definitely
Oh,
being prioritized,
for
but
sure.
yeah. So let's jump into, speaking of reels, let's jump into feature number 2, and that is reels. So what is a reel? Well, Instagram Reels allow you to record and edit short videos. You can add music, effects, trending sounds, voiceovers to the clips you record, and you can manage who sees your Reels, or you can use your audio and discover creators on Instagram through Reels. So Reels can be really good for a brand because you can do all sorts of things with them. You can feature your products. You can use trending audio while featuring your products. You know, you can make something really relevant. Maybe take a trending audio, find a way to make that really relevant to your niche. You could be wearing one of your products that's relevant to that post. There's so many things you can do here. And I just love the flexibility of Reels. I love all the features that you can add on, like the music and the trending audio, the effects. And they are still the best way to, in my opinion, the fastest way to go viral and to gain new followers. So let's talk about the benefits. There are a number of benefits for Reels. They are great for maximizing your reach and for gaining new followers. They give you the best chance of going viral on Instagram. And while it is essentially a carbon copy of TikTok, it does serve kind of like a similar purpose as posting TikTok videos. And this is actually kind of cool because when you create a reel, you can actually repurpose that to TikTok, the exact same reel. And vice versa. If you create a TikTok, you can repurpose that to Reels. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 now, which is kind of cool because if it went viral on one platform, it doesn't always go viral on the other platform, but there's a good chance that it will. And so you just create one piece of content or, you know, share one piece of content, and then that has potential going viral twice on 2 different platforms. Carrie, your thoughts?
Lots of thoughts. First thing I was thinking was, that, you know, I remember before Reels came out, and I think probably before TikTok, you know, this was really when I started shirt school about 3.5 years ago. And I, you know, I had built t-shirt businesses and done a lot through Instagram, but there was no Reels, like they didn't exist. I think there was IG Live maybe towards the beginning of that, but it was like stories and images, and then you could do regular videos, square videos and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, the reason I bring that up is because during that time, I don't want to call it the dark ages because it was probably fine, but because we didn't know about Reels weren't a thing, but there was not a great way to just get content out to new people. Like there wasn't a way, like it really required, it was hard for posts to go viral. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because really you just, the people's main feed was just who they follow. And some of the only ways that they could find new accounts was seeing it featured on an account they follow. Like they would be like similar accounts. They would follow that, or getting on the explore page, right? So, you know, getting in that little explore page, you would discover new things there. Or if something was shared in a story, something like that. That was like the only ways you could get your content out there. So it was very difficult for new accounts that were just starting to start gaining traction. And when Reels started taking over and TikToks and all this kind of stuff, these work a completely different way. Most of the time when you create a Reel, you will get more people that don't follow you that watch it than you do get people that follow you. And this created this new way for accounts that literally had 5 followers that they could create a video and the algorithm would push that out to new people that would be exposed to their content, potentially become followers, et cetera, et cetera. And it's really, really powerful. And I think if you see it from that perspective, that it really is this opportunity to reach new people through this content, whereas it really didn't exist before. It's just a really, really powerful tool. And I think everyone listening to this, if you're on Instagram, if you're trying to sell on Instagram, if you're trying to build a brand on Instagram, you have to be doing Reels. They have to be a part of your strategy, a heavy part of your strategy. And, you know, we've seen it. I want a shout out Seth in our 6-figure founder program.
Got viral multiple times.
Oh my gosh. Every time, like every couple days we turn around, he's got another one just blowing up. And, you know, he's late game dad on Instagram. Go follow him. But he puts out amazing content. Some of it he creates, some of it he repurposes. And, you know, he might have a reel that gets 1,000 views, but then the next one might have 20,000 views. It's just like, it's crazy. And so it's really, really powerful. So many benefits of doing that. Definitely recommend everybody is at least repurposing viral content from other accounts, but also creating your own reels. Like, get out there. It doesn't mean you have to put your face on there, but there's so many different ways you can do it and different things you can do. A lot of people, and I don't know if this is like not like outlawed already, but a lot of people for a long time were posting quotes just in a still, like in a video, like a 3-second video with a quote.
Oh, you can still do that.
Yeah, you can still do it. I'm surprised they didn't like change something, but like just turning your quotes into a reel, like, could make it go more viral. You know, like, it's crazy.
And then you just overlay a trending song on it. Yeah. Boom. I've had multiple go viral that way.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so simple, right? Like, you just put a quote, put it into a 3-second video, and then put a song over it, and boom. You didn't even have to put your face on it.
Choose a trending audio from the list. Dude, like, I'm glad you brought that up about how you don't have to show your face, because I think a lot of people, when they think of reels, they think they have to be the original creator. And there's so many different ways to use reels, and there's so many ways to post reels, including viral reels, that do not show your face. So first of all, you can repurpose content from creators. A lot of people do it on Instagram. Make sure that you give credit to the original creator, though. So I would include it in the caption, and then I would also tag them to the video if you're using their full creator video. Most creators are totally fine with this. Yeah. That's why a lot of them create reels. They want exposure. And if your brand is putting them out there in front of more people, that's free marketing for them. Once in a blue moon, you might get a creator who's like, oh, take it down. Who cares? Take it down. No big deal. Like, I don't know why a creator would post a reel and allow Instagram to push it publicly and then be upset if someone shares that. That was like the whole purpose of
that's literally the point. Out. That's the point of social media.
That's the point of reels, in my opinion.
Get your content shared.
I love when people share my content. Yeah. I want more people to share my content. Yeah. I think it's great. And shares are good for the algorithm too. The algorithm loves that. It loves to see that your content's being shared. So you can repurpose content. It's kind of like the modern day meme page, man. Like, you can literally create like a page where you just repurpose a bunch of viral reels. And I've actually seen pages like this that have like 200,000 followers, and all they do is repurpose viral reels, maybe in a certain niche or maybe on a certain topic. But you can do this for yours too, and then you can pepper in your products as well. And there's different ways to do it. You could just do all like repurpose viral reels and then share your contents in stories, like share your products. You could sell your products in stories. I wouldn't do that though. I do like to include products on my grid so people know that this is a business and that there are products that they can purchase. So you can do that. Another thing you can do that's really popular is CapCut templates are really popular right now. You've probably seen this, Gary, where they have like little clips of like Michael Scott from The Office, and he's like saying something funny and it's just in the bottom corner of the screen. Or, you know, there's one that's going viral where the guy's like, "Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?"
Oh man, have you seen that one? I love the one. It's the guy, and they overlay him like in different settings, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Just hanging around." You know that guy? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, totally.
They put him in the car.
So he's like, what? Me? I don't know.
My favorite one.
Nothing.
My favorite one is they put him in the car dealership, and there's like Lambos in the background, and they put the text that's like, it's like for entrepreneurs, you know, it's like, me after making my first t-shirt sale, it's like $25. He's like, what are you doing here? And it's like Lambos. And he's like, just hanging around. My goodness. It got me so good.
That's so good. I actually think I'm going to create that for my own Instagram page, because that's actually such a good idea. It's so funny. That's what I love about these CapCut templates, man. You can like apply them to almost any niche, and so many of them do well. They go viral. Have you seen all the ones? I forget his name, Pedro Pascal or whatever. The one of him like eating a sandwich, and the one of him laughing with Nicolas Cage. They're like riding bikes. Like, there's so many, and they keep coming out with more. There's like The Rock, you know, the one that's saying, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry."
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Literally, there's so many good ones, and people just make them so funny. And
those are all from CapCut?
Yeah, those are like CapCut templates.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah, on TikTok, I follow them and I'm always seeing these new templates. I'm like, oh, these are so good. And then I
Dude,
find ways to repurpose them.
so cool.
And yeah, I definitely recommend people jump on that. They're really popular right now and they're super easy to make. A lot of the times, you just have a still image in the background.
Mhm.
Like, like you would have a still image of Lamborghinis in the background, and then you would have the cat template of the guy just looking around. You'd have
It makes me laugh because I just think about everybody
Me
knows that
too.
feeling of like you get your first sale or something, and
Yeah.
you make $20 on the internet in your PayPal
Yeah.
account, and you're like, I'm going to buy a freaking Lambo. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
Dude, I
What
think
are
I'm
you
gonna be
doing
laughing
here?
throughout
Just
this
hanging
whole
around.
podcast, thinking about that particular CapCut. That's one of my favorites.
Got me so good.
So good. But kind of to sum it up for Reels, you do not need to show your face. There are so many ways that you can use Reels. You don't even have to create original content if you don't want with Reels. But if you can, like if you can take a still image and put something like a CapCut template over that image and make it relevant to your niche, that's a recipe for success. Right now, at least, I'm seeing a lot of people go viral with those CapCut templates.
I'm actually crying. I'm gonna have to take off my glasses.
Oh, they're so good.
Number 3.
All right. Number 3, feature number 3. And this is Instagram stories. So what are Instagram stories? With stories, you can share photos and videos that appear from your profile feed and messages disappear from your profile feed and messages after 24 hours, unless you add them to your story highlights. So one thing that's really cool with stories is you can actually create highlights in Instagram where you can categorize. So you can actually save your stories and you can organize the story posts into categories called highlights in Instagram. So that's where you see above a grid, you'll see those circles and they'll have like a little title and they'll usually have an image or like an icon. And you can use these for your clothing or apparel brand. You can use them for new arrivals. You can use them for bestsellers. You can use them for customer photos and other valuable content. There's so many ways to leverage those. So stories have a number of benefits. One thing I will say about stories are they are not good for maximizing reach. So stories are like very heavily shown to just your community, just the people that follow you. It's not really a strategy for growing your followers.
Has a ton of value though. I mean, that's a ton of value to be able to reach, more of your followers.
Totally. Yeah. And a lot, dude, so many people watch their stories, like so many people. I think people watch stories probably more than they just scroll through grids. You know what I mean? And so
it's mostly in the moment stuff too. It's happening right now because it's 24 hours or less.
It's limited time. So people will just go through their stories. A lot of times at the end of the day, they'll just go through all the stories for the day. And there's so many good kind of benefits to this. One, it's great for sharing behind the scenes of your brand. It's great for engaging with your followers. So you can do surveys, you can ask questions. One thing that's popular for apparel brands is doing a this or that, where they'll share 2 designs. They'll show photos of 2 different designs and they'll be like, which one do you like better? And it's actually a cool way to survey your customers and determine if you have 2 designs and you only want to choose one, you just go with the popular one. And there's most likely that's going to be the better seller if your followers voted on that. So there's so many ways to kind of engage people. You can promote your products and promotions. I think IG stories are so good for selling. They're so good for selling. I actually try and recommend that you do a selling post every single day. So if you're posting your stories, some people will post their stories a couple times a day. And if you are for your brand, I would always pepper in at least one selling post, at least one. And what you can do is you can add a link sticker and you can take them directly to the page where they can buy that on your website. Or you can tag it on your Instagram shop and they can go check out your shop. So it's really, really good for that. And then what I mentioned before, just leverage story highlights. It's great for just saving and organizing story posts. And that can be very valuable for Instagram brands, especially since so many people, like you were mentioning earlier, Carrie, so many people are doing brand research and product research on Instagram now. Like if they see a product that they like, a lot of times they'll go to that Instagram page and they'll kind of check out the brand, make sure that they look all right and doesn't look too sketchy and stuff like that. So there are so many good reasons to use stories. And just really engaging with your community. I think that's like a really, really big one. Any thoughts on that?
Only thing I would add to that, I mean, that was all great. Only thing I would add to that is one thing I've talked about a little bit, I think with some of our six-figure founder students, and we've chatted about a little bit, is don't be afraid to engage people in the DMs, like from your stories. Ask them to swipe up. Like some of the stats have shown that you get a lot more responses and engagement if you say, swipe up to DM me your answer, or swipe up for the link, or whatever, DM me the word blah 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 to get the link or discount code. Like that would be a great one, right? If you're running a sale, don't put the discount code in the story, say DM me for the discount code. And just the curiosity, the actual conversation, like you'll get way more responses as opposed to just putting the discount code in the sticker and counting on people to use it. And then if you get people in the DMs, you can make a deeper connection and have a deeper conversation with them, build a better relationship. So I know we're going to talk about DMs in a minute, but just kind of connecting that to stories.
Totally. Instagram, the algorithm loves that when stories are interactive. They love when people are engaging with them. Like if you're polling your customers and they have to click something, yes or no, or this or that, or, something, they love that. They love, sometimes you can just have that bar with like a heart that people can just slide if they like something. But like any sort of engagement or interaction, that's going to show the algorithm that you're putting out content that people are engaging with. And because it's a social-based algorithm, it likes that stuff. It reinforces that stuff. And so, yeah, definitely use stories. I 100% think that they're so good for selling. I think for Instagram, they're one of the best tools for selling personally. For sure. They're also really good for promoting sales. So you can put your sale on there, and there's just so many good reasons. I could go on and on and on. But let's move on to feature number 4. And this one, to be honest, is one that I've never actually used for my brand because I'm not the face of my brand. If I have seen brands using it before, and that is Instagram Lives. So what is an Instagram Live? For anyone that doesn't know, Instagram Lives allows you to start a live broadcast to connect with your followers in real time. So once a live broadcast has ended, you can share a replay or access it in your live archive. I have actually used this for coaching. For Ecom Legends Academy in Instagram. I've done lives, and what we did is we did interviews with kind of other people in the space and other coaches and other services that we thought would be valuable for print on demand sellers. And it was really cool for that. But for my brand, I haven't actually done it before, but I have seen other brands. There's this brand, I'm trying to remember the name. I swear she's on there like every single day. It's this kind of cool, trendy Christian apparel brand. And she's always live on Instagram, Seek and Bond and Seek. I forget what it's called, but she is doing a very good job of leveraging that feature for her brand. And a lot of times it's just kind of like people just hop on and she's just in her kind of warehouse or in her, business, talking about the brand, telling stories, sharing different things. And, she's on there a lot, and I think she does a really good job. Another thing that I've heard of other brands doing that I've never actually done myself is live selling. Have you heard of this, Carrie?
Yeah.
People literally live sell, and sometimes I've heard stories of people just selling out, like people going crazy over this live selling. And for a while, people were pushing it. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you got to be live selling." It's like, what?
Well, they built a whole app. Like not Instagram, but there's a whole app based off that called Whatnot. Have you heard of that app?
Whatnot? No, I have not. I have not.
It's called Whatnot, and it's literally that exact thing. I don't know if it's specifically a social app. It might be, but the whole idea of it is brands go on there to do a live stream and sell on the live stream, and people using the app, people can actually buy right there in the app. So a lot of people use it for let's say you had like you wanted to sell all the clothes in your closet that you're not using anymore, and you had some high-end stuff, you could set up a Whatnot stream and people could bid on the products and, buy right there in the app, and they handle all the payments. So they actually transfer you the money and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's actually, the app is like blown up, but it's essentially the same idea. Now, Adrian, do you know, I think this might either be already out or coming out soon, where you can tag products in an Instagram live as you're doing the live. Do you know that, if that's come out? I want to say it has.
I'm not sure about
Yeah.
that one just because I don't use lives
Yeah.
for my brand. So I'm not too sure, but
That's
that would
something
actually be really cool.
it's either already out or coming out very soon, but I know that that is a feature that that it's been talked about is while you're selling on there, you can literally go and tag a product and then they can click the product in the live. It'll take them over to the shop, the Instagram shop, and they can just purchase right there.
Yeah, I
So,
think you're right. It looks like
mhm.
here, I'm just pulling it up, tag products in live on Instagram.
Isn't that crazy?
That's super cool.
Super cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've heard success stories with it, man. And like it's I don't know, I like
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say my advice would just be if you are the face of your brand, like you mentioned,
Mhm,
if you have the personality that you like
mhm.
to be on camera, you like to do those videos. I mean, we both, I'm sure, know a lot of people who like that's their personality. Like you're a
Yeah.
connector, you love building relationships,
Yep.
and alternatively, but also to add on to that, if you are in a niche that you can share content, like share stories and tips and tricks,
Mhm,
those kind of things about that niche. An example I'll use is like, let's say you had a vegan brand. It was all around,
mhm,
vegan thing, the vegan lifestyle. Well, if
mhm.
you have some like knowledge in that and, you are living that lifestyle and you want to share tips about vegan
Recipes.
recipes
Mhm.
and, grocery, at the grocery store, pulling it up. Oh, this is what I'm putting in my grocery basket, or a story. I know I have a student that, she has an amazing story of how, I hope I don't get this wrong, but I'm not going to mention her name, but her mom had some form of cancer, and she helped her mom switch to a vegan diet, and she beat the cancer. And like a big reason for that was because of the change in her diet. Like, what
Mm,
an amazing story. Oh my gosh,
powerful. Yeah.
that like that kind of stuff is great content to share on. You don't have to share it on a live. I mean, you can share these things on a stories or on reels, but going live and doing it, it's a different feel. Like you came
Yeah.
onto my challenge a couple weeks ago and did a live stream. It's just a
Yeah.
completely
Oh,
different energy being
yes.
live. But you
Yes.
also
It's the
you also
vibe.
have you also have to be willing that, when you have 50 or 100 followers, you're probably going to get on there and nobody might show up.
Yep.
And you kind of have to be okay with that. I
Mhm.
remember I've done so many lives all over different platforms, but I've done some Instagram ones as well. And yeah, there's times early on like you show up and it's one person there, two people, and like
Yeah.
you just kind of have to work with that and get used to it. And there's a great thing that I think Russell Brunson says, but he's like, when you're doing content early on, you're doing these live streams, or you're putting out videos. He's like, nobody's watching, and that's good. You don't
That's
want
a good
anybody to
thing.
watch because
Yeah.
that's the worst your content is ever going to be.
Yeah.
Like when you
Yeah.
get on a live stream for the first time, you're going to be like, what do I say? I am so awkward. Hi everybody. Like you're just
Yep.
gonna be like, and there's gonna be nobody there, and it's a good thing that nobody's watching because you're gonna stink. But as you do it
Dude.
more and more, you're gonna get better and better and better. And then one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, holy crap, I'm really good at this. And so live streaming is one of those things because you don't get another take. It's
Yeah.
literally this is what it
It's
is.
it's live, man. Dude,
Yeah.
it's cringe, man. Looking at my
Oh yeah.
original lives, like the first time I went live, it looks like I'm having a meltdown on camera. I was
Yeah.
so uncomfortable. My face was like beet red. I was so awkward. I was kind of like frozen, like, hey guys. And it was so weird. But you're right. And I remember that part in one of Russell Brunson's books where he was talking to one of his buddies and he's like, oh, your podcast has gotten so much better. Like the first couple episodes were terrible. But around the time I got to like episode 100, you were really into your rhythm and stuff. And
Yep.
that's what Russell Brunson says, like, get the practice while no one's watching. I totally agree. Like, I think it's a good thing to practice on camera in front of no people or one or two or three people before you jump
Embrace
into the
it.
spotlight and you're presenting to like, you know, 800 people or even 100 people, even 50 people. It can
Yeah.
be pretty intimidating if you've never presented in front of anyone. All of a sudden you go in front of that many people. I'd rather have a meltdown in front of two people than 50 people. So, but
Agreed.
like lives, you kind of made a good point that I also just wanted to reiterate. lives don't have to be for selling. You can offer value in so many ways with lives. I've seen like lives, meditation done on lives, meditation sessions, Pilates classes. You can tell
Oh
stories.
man, so cool.
There's a really cool Arizona brand called Keep Nature Wild, and they're an outdoor, sustainability brand, and they have. I was watching one of their lives, and it was like the owner of the company with I think someone else from the company, and they were just talking about Earth Day coming up and some of the things you can do to help the planet. And I was like, this is so on niche for this brand. Like that is just so cool. And I think people that follow that brand, they're going to be proud. They're going to go on there and be like, oh, look at this live. Like the CEO's on here. We're seeing that he's legit and he actually cares about the environment. It sounds like he really, truly cares. And I just think that that's going to help build community. So that's really what lives are good for. It's good for live selling, but it's also really good for building community. Next, we are on feature number 5 of 7. So feature number 5, which Carrie already kind of touched on really briefly, is direct messaging. And I heard a quote from someone, I think they were like an Instagram growth coach or something. And they said, sales are made in the DMs. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
Boom. Like I have made so many sales in the DMs, especially if they're the ones reaching out. They're warm already. They're making the effort to reach out to you. And a lot of times it's buyer intent questions like, how does this fit? What's the sizing like? Can you customize this? Do you have different color options available? These are people that in many cases want to buy. And I've actually seen some clothing brands, maybe you've seen this too, Carrie, where people like the clothing brand in their bio, they'll have like a red circle with a line through it and say, do not DM me or do not DM us for customer support. And honestly, I personally, this is just my opinion, I think that looks very cold for a brand. I think it's very cold and off-putting. And I would be turned off by that if I saw a brand do this like red circle with the thing through it saying, do not DM us with support issues or do not DM us with questions about like sizing or something like that.
Yeah, what the heck?
I do not encourage that at all. I actually think you should meet the customers where they are. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people are looking at your brand on Instagram, and a lot of them, that's how they prefer to communicate. They don't want to have to go and find your email, dig it up, send you an email just to find out how the sizing is, and then wait 24 to 48 hours to get a response. It's amazing. We live in an amazing time. You can connect directly with your customers in real time. And a lot of times they'll reach out to you. So I actually encourage people to use the DMs to make sales and to check them regularly, get back to your customers really quick with their inquiries. And a lot of times you'll get an order shortly after you've answered their question. It's amazing. So just so everyone knows, DMing, direct messaging on Instagram, it allows you to instantly connect with friends, individuals, or in groups through chats and even calls. And there are so many benefits here. So connecting with customers and potential influencers, that's another thing that DMs are great for. Man, so good for reaching out to influencers. Creating community, building relationships, and of course, making sales. So I'm a big fan of the DMs. I think people should absolutely use and leverage them. Carrie, your thoughts?
The only thing I would add is DM automation, direct message automation, very powerful and actually really easy to set up. If you go and I think there's many services for this now. The one I've always used is called ManyChat, but there's other ones, and I think you can do some of this even built in now. But there's so much you can do with automation, and going back to what we talked about earlier, it's really powerful to get people to ask people to DM you something. So you could say, DM me the word sale to get the special discount code,
right?
And then you could have an automated bot, send that out. You could have an automated response if you can't get to every DM. If somebody DMs you, a question, you can have an automated response there that says, "Hey, thank you so much for your message. We'll get back to you in, the next few hours," or something. But there's so much you could do with it, right? Like there's so many different ways you could utilize the automation, sending people a special link, a private link or something like that, or whatever the case may be. And there's a lot of uses for it, but I would definitely look into that if you're heavily growing on Instagram or if you're getting a lot of DMs. look into some ways you could automate some of that stuff. But also, like Adrian said, stay on top of it. I do a really bad job of this. Admittedly, I'm really bad at responding to my Instagram DMs because they get really backed up, and I don't respond to all of them quickly. But I will get better. But definitely respond to people, and don't be afraid to do outbound as well. I've had multiple students who have built 6-figure brands mainly with the strategy of finding their customers on other accounts and reaching out via DM and selling in the DMs. I mean, direct message selling, they call it social selling, I guess is the term, has blown up in the last like probably 2 years, 3 years really. And you can sell, like you can proactively do cold outreach and sell in the DMs. And you have to do high volume, you're going to get a lot of no's, you're going to get a lot of annoyed people, but it will work. Like it works. I've seen it work like hotcakes for a lot of brands.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that I didn't touch on. So yeah, DMs, guys, use them. They're amazing, and they can result in a lot of sales for you. All right, let's jump on to feature number 6. This is one of my personal favorites.
Yep.
And that is Instagram Shops. So what are Instagram Shops? I think there's a lot of confusion actually around Instagram Shops, because I think some people think, well, yeah, it's my shop on Instagram. It's my business page on Instagram, right? But people don't realize that it's actually a feature created by Instagram to make sales in app, like within the Instagram platform. And it does require setup. It's different. It's not just your business page. So Shops provides access to a set of features across Instagram that lets people shop your photos and videos. How cool is that, right? It gives your business an immersive storefront for people to explore your best products, including a customizable storefront that lets people shop directly on Instagram, on your Instagram profile, without ever having to leave the platform. There are so many benefits to this, just purely from an optimization standpoint. There are so many benefits to this, because I've mentioned this before, but if Meta can track the customer journey all the way from them first finding out about your brand to making a purchase, and they never left the app, they have all of that customer data and they can optimize better because of it. Whereas after the iOS 14 update, optimization got harder for Meta. They lose a lot of visibility when someone is taken off their platform. So when you direct someone to your website to complete their purchase, Meta can't track them as well. They lose a lot of that visibility, so you don't get as much optimization. And as a result, you don't get as good of results sometimes because it's not as optimized. The better optimized the data, the better business decisions you can make and Meta can make for you through their automation, which converts into more sales. So that's one kind of aspect. And maybe I went a little too far down the rabbit hole there, but that's just one aspect. Another aspect is a lot of people just like purchasing in-app. They like the seamless, user-friendly experience. They're in Instagram because they want to be in Instagram. And we're trying to convince them to go to your website, to go off app, off platform, and kind of disrupt their Instagram scrolling or whatever they were doing. And so if you can make it a really seamless in-app experience for them where they don't have to leave, then they're going to like that. And a lot of people are. Like, sales are getting more regular on Shops because a lot of people are liking the seamless in-app purchasing experience. And so we've had a lot of success with this. We highly recommend everyone sets this up for their business and tags your products. We have a ton of training around this because it's so important. And in terms of benefits, I mean, it's great, first of all, just for showcasing your products. It's great for creating that seamless customer experience. And it's great for making sales. So, Carrie, your thoughts?
Not much on this one, man. I mean, I think you guys are really pioneering this. I haven't used it myself, but I know it's super powerful and I need to use it. So yeah, I mean, it's like you said, like letting people stay in the app. It's advantageous to you as a business owner because Facebook and Instagram are pushing those posts, I guess, with the products in them. They're pushing them in the algorithm more because, yeah, I mean, it's valuable to them. They want you to use that feature, and there's going to be revenue from that for them and different things. So, yeah, I mean, definitely, it's awesome. I think everybody should definitely set it up.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. There is algorithmic favor from using
Yeah.
this feature. This is a feature that keeps people on the platform for longer. And really, that's Instagram's goal. Their goal is
Yep.
to keep users on their platform for as long as possible. And if you can help them do that, they're going to give you special treatment. You're going to get that
Mhm.
algorithmic favor. And so by having Instagram shops, we definitely notice it. A lot of other brands notice it as well when we tag products. Even if we tag a non-product post with a product, like a relevant product, we notice that sometimes it gets 10x the results in terms of
Wow.
engagement. It's crazy, man. Like if you get 100 likes on a post and then you tag it with your product, a lot of times we'll get like 1,000, and it's
Wow.
just crazy. And a lot of times Instagram, they love to push new features. They want adopters. And
Mhm.
if you're an early adopter for new features, a lot of times you do benefit from the algorithmic favor. So I always recommend leveraging new features from Instagram for that reason.
Pretty
Uh,
amazing.
so let's jump on to the last one. And this one I kind of put at the very bottom. I saved it till last, not because it's the best, but probably because it's the least used one. And I've never used it. I'm sure some brands have. I can think of ways that brands can use it, but that is the fundraisers and donations feature. So I think a lot of people don't know this exists.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's well, especially like a lot of apparel brands, like I have never seen an apparel brand use this,
Yeah.
but I'm sure some do. And I can think of a couple of ways, if you are, let's say you are in the like cancer awareness niche or breast cancer niche or something like that, you can do fundraisers on Instagram, and that would be very valuable. Even your followers, you can have maybe followers submit kind of stories, and then you create this. I'm just thinking like on the fly here, and then you create fundraisers for, you choose one story, and then you create a fundraiser for it, and kind of your community rallies around those people. It's kind of a cool thing. That's kind of a cool idea for like a brand like that. So it can definitely work for
Sure.
some brands. But what it is you can raise money on Instagram for nonprofits and causes you care about. And the benefits are it's great for supporting a cause important to your brand. And then it's also really good for creating community, for building community, because if you are in somewhere where that would be relevant, people are going to love seeing a brand fundraising for something that they're passionate about.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Carrie, what are your thoughts on that one? It's a
I
unique
mean,
one.
I think it's great. I want only thing I was really thinking of was just there's a lot of times there's also things happening in the moment that people really care about. There might
Mhm.
be issues, in the world, in communities and different things that might align with your brand. And so that might be a great time for a lot of brands to capitalize on this feature, is if it's also something. I shouldn't say capitalize on this feature. That's not, I don't mean that. You're
Leverage.
not going to
Yeah.
make money from it. Like
Right.
you're
Right.
making money for a cause.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it can be really powerful when there's something happening, as we know in the United States, like the last few years,
Mhm.
so many crazy things have happened that people issues that people care about and would want to give money to. And so
Yeah.
you can kind of leverage those trending things, topics that people really care about, and maybe use this towards that to kind of rally your community. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be ancillary benefits of that, even though hopefully your heart is not to like just make a bunch of money if you're trying to support, a cause, but the ancillary benefits are going to be, more people are going to follow you, more people are going to be aware of your brand, all those kind of things,
Mhm.
because you're pushing that cause. So
Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting to see brands use that, and I'm sure some do.
yeah.
I'm sure of it. Just kind of going back, I was mentioning the brand that I see on live a lot, and they're called Bond and Seek.
Mm.
They're a faith-based clothing brand, and she's on there a lot. And I just think she does a really good job. She's just putting in the reps, and she just looks really natural now. And I think she does a good job of really just engaging with her community. And a lot of people are on there hanging out with her. So there's so many different ways to do it. Another way that just came to mind, one of my friends, she sells tumblers online, and she also teaches people how to create tumblers.
Nice.
And she does like a pack an order with me. And sometimes she'll do it live, and she'll shout out the people who the order is for, so that they are like, whoa, I'm watching live my order being packed. And I was like, that is such a cool idea. Like, wouldn't that make you feel kind of special? You're like,
Yeah, that
whoa,
is
here's
really
someone
cool.
like the owner of the company, she's the owner and she's here packing this order for someone and shouting them out. So there's so many ways to use these features, and I hope people do. I hope people take full advantage. What I love about Instagram is it's free. Like, you can pay to run ads and promote your products, but there are so many ways to market your brand for free on Instagram. And I just really want to encourage people to play with these features, test them, try them out, see what works for you. And I think that that's it for this lesson. I just really wanted to kind of share what's available in Instagram. I hope people found this helpful, knowing now what's available. And hopefully this kind of opens some minds to ways that they didn't really think about that they can be marketing their brand on Instagram. So Carrie, unless there's anything else you have to say, we could just sign off here. Any final thoughts?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Cool.
Lots of value in there.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. And we will talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print On Demand Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us an honest review on whichever platform you're listening from. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much again, and we will talk to you very soon.